You wake up in the middle of the night. The room is empty, yet the feeling that someone is watching you won't go away. The air has turned still and heavy. An inexplicable fear begins to grow inside you. And then you notice it, a figure in the corner. Short, thin, with a head that is disproportionately large. The eyes, huge, black, almond-shaped. It just stands there, watching. You can't move. A moment later, it vanishes, as if it was never there. You wonder, was it a dream? A hallucination? But then you discover millions of people around the world have seen the same thing. And they all have one thing in common, an encounter with the so-called Greys. Who are they? Why do they appear? What do they want from us? This story is not just a collection of theories. It is a deep dive into the most mystical and unsettling part of modern folklore, science, and possibly a hidden truth that has been carefully concealed. Who are the Greys? The so-called Greys are among the most recognizable and widely discussed types of extraterrestrial beings in UFO culture. Their appearance is familiar to almost everyone, standing about 1.2 to 1.5 meters tall, with slender bodies, greyish-blue skin, disproportionately large heads, and elongated, jet-black, almond-shaped eyes. No ears, no nose, just small openings, and a complete, inhuman silence. The first widespread reports of the Greys began to emerge in the mid-20th century, but the most famous and defining event occurred in 1947, the Roswell incident. According to the official version, it was merely a weather balloon crash. According to the unofficial one, a UFO went down, carrying beings who would later become known as the Greys. Since then, thousands of witnesses have come forward claiming encounters with these entities. What's truly unsettling, however, is that nearly all of them describe the same details, down to the smallest feature, even though many have never had any contact with each other. What do they want? And here is where things become truly strange. Most encounters with the Greys are described as abductions. People report being suddenly pulled out of their normal reality, finding themselves in white, sterile rooms where mysterious procedures are performed on them. There is no pain, but also no will. Examinations, tissue sampling, manipulation of consciousness. Then they are returned usually to the exact spot from which they disappeared. The question arises, why? There are several hypotheses. The most common are scientific curiosity. Perhaps the Greys are biologists observing humanity as part of an experiment. To them, we are like lab animals, and everything they do is merely data collection. Genetic program. Many abductees have claimed they were implanted with something related to their reproductive systems. Some women reported being forced to carry something only for the fetus to later be taken away. One theory suggests the Greys have gone extinct as a biological species and are now trying to engineer hybrids, part human, part Grey. Mind control. Reports often describe the presence of telepathy. The Greys rarely speak, but people hear their thoughts, feel their influence, and it seems they are capable of bending human will. Could it be that they seek to turn us into unconscious agents of their own agenda? Encounters with the Greys don't just frighten, they induce a deep, paralyzing dread, even in the most hardened skeptics, because everything feels far too real. One of the most well-known cases is that of Betty and Barney Hill, which took place in the early 1960s in the United States. The couple was driving home late at night when they noticed a bright light in the sky. It began to follow their car. Then, a complete blackout. They came 2 hours later, still in their vehicle, with no memory of what had happened. Later, under hypnosis, both of them recounted the exact same story. Their car had been stopped. They were taken aboard a craft. They saw beings with large heads and oversized eyes. Medical procedures were performed, samples of skin, blood, all accompanied by a kind of telepathic calming. They were not harmed physically, but the feeling of total helplessness would never leave them. And theirs is just one of thousands of such stories. The strangest part, many abductees are left with unexplained scars or even implants that no doctor can account for. There are several theories about the origins of the Greys. Here are the three most widely discussed. Theory 1. The Zeta Reticuli system. According to numerous ufological sources, the Greys came from this star system, located approximately 39 light-years from Earth. This civilization is said to have lost its home planet long ago, surviving through advanced technology, but at the cost of becoming sterile. Hence, their fascination with human genetics. Theory 2. A future version of humanity. One hypothesis claims the Greys are actually us humans from a distant future. In a desperate bid for survival, humanity may have evolved or devolved into beings with large heads and frail bodies. Having lost emotional depth and reproductive capability, they now travel back in time to repair themselves using the DNA of their ancestors, us. Theory 3. Biomechanical drones or avatars. Some ufologists believe the Greys are not a true species at all, but rather artificial drones, biomechanical entities carrying out the orders of a higher, unknown intelligence. Perhaps they are merely the hands and eyes of those who watch us from afar. One thing is clear, encounters with the Greys are never described as positive experiences. They are always intrusions. They are about control, manipulation, and the suppression of will. People don't just feel like subjects, they feel like prey. And it's not their appearance that frightens, it's what they can do to the human mind. Some theorists claim that all of humanity is already under an invisible influence, that the Greys are already here, they've simply chosen not to reveal themselves. Perhaps they're integrating slowly, watching, analyzing, staring at us through those enormous black eyes with the cold detachment of a biologist observing bacteria. Those who delve deeply into the subject of the Greys often reach a chilling conclusion. The governments of the world, especially the superpowers, know far more about them than they publicly admit. And some of them may have been cooperating with the Greys for a long time. One of the most talked about examples is a project allegedly codenamed Majestic 12. According to ufologists, this was an ultra-classified group established in the late 1940s in the United States by direct order of the president following the Roswell incident. Its purpose: to manage contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. According to leaked documents, a supposed agreement was made between the Greys and the US government. In exchange for advanced technology, the aliens would be granted access to a limited number of human subjects for biological experimentation. However, the terms were reportedly violated almost immediately. The Greys began abducting far more individuals than allowed, and soon, they were beyond human control. One of the darkest legends is tied to a secret underground facility in Dulce, New Mexico. Allegedly, it is a multi-level complex where Greys and humans work side by side. According to descriptions, the lower levels are reserved exclusively for the extraterrestrials, where they conduct genetic experiments, merging human and alien DNA. A man named Phil Schneider, an engineer who claimed to have been involved in the construction of these underground structures, later came forward with public statements. He asserted that he had seen the Greys with his own eyes, had survived a violent firefight between humans and aliens deep underground, and even displayed burn scars from what he said was a plasma weapon. Just a few months later, he was found dead under mysterious circumstances. Officially, suicide. But within the ufology community, many believe he was silenced because he knew too much. The big question: if they're already here, why hide? Theorists claim that the Greys are masters of concealment. They may not infiltrate human society physically, but mentally, through mind control, telepathic links, and even dreams. According to this version, they're not just observing, they're studying our emotions, our fears, our desires, gathering data we ourselves are not even aware of. Perhaps humanity is an experiment. Perhaps we are pets, being prepared for something greater. Or, on the contrary, maybe humanity has already lost control of its own reality, and everything we think we know has long since been rewritten by something watching us from a higher dimension. Global statistics on missing persons are terrifying, hundreds of thousands vanish every year, and in most cases, they are never found. Certainly, many disappearances can be explained: crime, natural disasters, people running away. But a significant percentage remain unsolved. These vanishings happen suddenly, without a trace, with no surveillance footage and no witnesses. Some ufologists claim that the Greys are behind a portion of these cases. The most bizarre incidents occur in so-called silent zones, mysterious geographic locations where electronic devices fail, compasses spin erratically, and people vanish without a sound. We've followed the trail from terrifying nighttime visitations to global conspiracy theories. But still, the central question remains: why us? Why are the Greys here? At first glance, it seems to boil down to one of three possibilities. They are scientists, studying humanity the way we study ants. They are survivors, searching for a way to save their dying species through our DNA. They are invaders, not with guns or spaceships, but with subtle infiltration of minds and systems, slowly rewriting the essence of what it means to be human. But there's a fourth hypothesis, far more unsettling. We are their creation. Perhaps the Greys are not visitors, but originators. Perhaps humanity is their experiment, their biological project, their past or their future. If that's true, then the abductions, the manipulation, even their integration into culture isn't aggression. It's control. Control over a process that began thousands of years ago. So now you've seen the patterns, the stories, the sightings, the silence. Maybe it's all just fear and fantasy. Or maybe it's something else. What if they're not coming? What if they're already here? And always were? You don't have to believe, but you should start paying attention, because the truth doesn't hide. It watches.